Hi, welcome to the Lew Perspective. This is Harold and
Hi, Harold.
John. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm glad you're here with me.
Yeah, same.
We've got another perspective we want to share with you, and I think most of you will know this or recognize it.
Yeah.
It is New Year's resolutions.
Yes. New Year's resolution.
What do you think about that, John?
Oh, it's a resolution.
It's a resolution. So
for
now,
a new year.
in this resolution, we all come up with resolutions at the end of the year. We kind of start thinking about, okay, my New Year's resolution is going to be this and that and so on and so forth. But most people don't know how that came about.
So tell me how it came about.
So, it's interesting. And I found this little bit of data, and it was on that this was something that the Babylonians did over 4,000 years ago.
A cycle. That's ancient.
That is ancient. And it said that they did this as a pledge for the new year.
Pledge for the new year.
And that's how that became the New Year's resolution.
What did they
started
pledge?
That. Just to be better for themselves and their life and the things that they wanted to do.
Interesting.
Could you imagine?
4,000 years ago.
4,000 years ago.
Can you imagine, though, what... I can't even think.
I know.
What were they doing 4,000 years ago?
They did that 4,000 years ago, and
what were they What would they think 4,000 years to make their world a better place? Because I'm living in a dirt hut with all my family.
But think about it, though. Architecture, if you think about that, architecture probably then is sort of in the mindset. Yeah. Probably the same as it is now.
Same as
it was they weren't in caves, so they figured out a way to sort of modernize themselves, so they felt they were in a modern time.
Yeah.
So exactly. I would suspect that it was probably the same thing that we're doing. That somewhere down the road, that in the future, humanity will think, what were they doing back in 1999, 2024? That kind of thing. So. Anyways,
I was going to be smart and say, well, they didn't have gyms back in 4000 BC, did they?
I'm thinking that they probably did because in the Greeks probably trained and worked out and so on. So they probably, I'm thinking maybe they had gyms. I don't know. They probably didn't have the kind of weight equipment, but they were lifting those stones up for the pyramids and things like that. They probably had to develop those kinds of muscles to do that. So, I'm just going to say that, working out the beginning of the year or something like that.
That's
but they, one of the things that I thought was really interesting is that it seems like I would say the New Year's resolution was sort of a mindset. Yeah. It was kind of a reset, a fresh start for the new year. And that's what most people look forward to doing that.
That's what most people do. Okay. I know for me anyway, it's the same. I did the same thing when I was, thinking through of what resolutions I've thought of over the last years, for myself. Mm-hmm. It's, hey, we're going to put it off for the new year because it's a new year. We start fresh, you get everything out of the way. Mm-hmm. What is it? Like Mardi Gras, right? Okay. You can get everything out of the way and then you go right into,
the new
year. And then in that case was the 40 days or whatever. So that's what I had thought. And that's what I always thought a New Year's resolution was, okay, you're going to wait for a new year so you can restart, reset, and then hopefully you can stick with it.
You see, that's the big ticket, is being able to stick with it. Now, but one of the things that I found that was part of the mindset of the New Year's resolution, that it was a way to control what you did for the new year. It was a self-control because you were the one that had control of how you were going to approach the upcoming new year. Yeah. And you look back at the year past and you thought, how can I and what can I do that would enhance my life, my lifestyle for the new year? Right. And maybe that's what they thought about back in the Babylonian days. Yeah. I mean, the same mindset of what we have today. Right. So I sort of see that same sort of context happening now. We're still at it. We still talk about it. Then most people will act on it. Now, the deeper question is, does it really mean a resolution?
Yeah, no. What's a resolution?
See, it's resolving something.
Resolving something.
Okay, but then...
So you're not really resolving until you've completed something, right?
Yes.
So if I have a goal like weight loss exercise and eat better. Those are all usually things that people have New Year's resolutions for. Next year, I'm going to lose 20 pounds or 10 pounds, whatever.
1,000 pounds or something like that.
You come to zero. And, that'd be perfect.
Okay. Zero.
Zero.
Maybe from another. If we were actually from another galaxy or planet, zero might be really good.
We can snap our fingers and travel through space time and be zero for about a second and a half
when you get here.
Yeah, that'd be great.
that resolution would work.
Done. So you think about that, and you think about when you go to the gym on January 1st or 2nd. Everyone's in the gym.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You talk about like the highest membership that is at that gym.
They sign up.
Like the gyms make sure they are ready for people to sign up, right? So you'll see a lot of people there in January. And then when you get to February, you start seeing less people.
Do you think it's that long?
Yeah.
You think it is?
Well,
you think that it'll last like a month?
I think it lasts maybe a month. It depends, right?
It seems like I've seen it where it works like maybe 3 weeks into it, and then all of a sudden you start to see the real gym crowd still there.
I
think I've seen it like that.
2 months, I'll give them a month.
Okay.
And then 2 months, and then definitely after the third month. If you're not going there at the third month, you're done. Like you stop. So
what do you think? Why do you think people do that? What do you think they stop?
It is hard because it is not. So the resolution requires discipline.
Okay.
It requires you to form a habit.
Okay.
And if people want things quickly as well.
Okay.
Not realizing that these things take time. To resolve something takes time. Now, people want instant gratification, instant resolution. Some things you can do that. Some things you can't.
We're instantaneous society,
and especially in our society today, right? Mm-hmm. You can go on your phone and buy anything you want instantly.
And you want it delivered that same day.
Instantly, you can do that,
yes.
right? You can have it in the next few hours. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. You can have that done. But the reality is, for these types of things, for the New Year's resolutions, it takes time.
Yeah.
Because weight loss takes time. Exercising more, those all go hand in hand. Eating better, dieting, those all go hand in hand. And it takes time.
So do you think that that's why maybe we see the fall off in the gym? It's like they didn't see the results that they were hoping?
I think it's a combination.
Okay.
One is it's the results that aren't quick enough.
Okay.
But also it's the non-habit forming as well.
Okay. Oh, so, yeah, that's true.
Right. I mean, hey, if I've got to wake up again, my own story is I have to wake up at 5 o'clock every morning to go to the gym, but I made it a habit, and now it's like clockwork. I'm up at 4:30 every day, go to the gym every day for an hour, coming back and the kids, and then going to work. Right.
So, and you see the results.
Right. I mean, for me, it took 6 months. I lost 30 pounds.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. But it took that long. You're right. It's not like I lost 30 pounds in a month.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, that would be one. It's not good. But,
true.
Two is that to sustain it and to keep it off, that is where you need the discipline.
So do you think it's like a life-changing event, or is it just a fad that is actually?
It's so you have to go into it thinking of a lifestyle change, thinking that you're going to make a change, that you're going to keep doing it, and then you're making it a habit. If you go into it thinking it's a fad, or, hey, I can do it for a couple months and that's it, it's not going to work, right?
Right.
You got to form that habit.
So that's where that habit, really the habit, is the resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the resolution comes into to focus. Okay.
Well, that makes sense. And honestly, you don't really need, I understand why people choose.
Yes.
Right. Like to do everything on the new year. But the reality is you don't have to wait to the new year to do this. Right.
Okay. So what's your thoughts on that?
Like, again, if you're trying to form a habit, you can start at any time.
Okay. That's a different perspective on that.
Yeah. If I wanted to lose weight, why do I have to wait another month until January 1st to do that? Okay. Like, what am I trying to do to myself? Do I want to just gorge myself and eat everything I want to eat in the next month? And then, great, do it. But just know that you're still going to have to form a habit. You're still going to have to do all these other things. You might as well just do it now.
Start now.
Just start now.
Okay. Well, actually, that makes sense to me, because if you think about it, that would lead you on into the new year,
right,
resolving that issue that you had previously.
Exactly.
Make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Because,
that's exactly
I never thought of it from that standpoint, even though it makes sense to me that if you're going to have a New Year's resolution, it would be starting right at this moment now and going on into the new year.
Right.
Knowing that this is what you want to resolve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So it's really, it's all in the mind. I know it's hard. This, either weight loss, whatever the resolution that you're thinking of.
Yes.
It's going to challenge you. It's going to be a difficult task. But if you start doing the small changes, sticking with them and being dedicated to it.
So the underlying factor, you would say, is really going to be forming new habits that you want to work on from the previous year before, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I know we wait till we say this, and I know psychologically we think, okay, it's January 1st, it's a new year, and I'm going to start now at this point. And then what disappoints us is that we get 2 months into it and we're back to the same old habits?
Old habits.
Okay, and those old habits are the ones that came from the year before, and maybe even the year before that, and maybe the year before that, that we never resolved. So how is New Year's resolution really brought into focus unless you resolve it at that moment, right?
Yeah,
Makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I know. And again, tough for a lot of people to think through, but there comes a point you just have to say it's not a resolution anymore. If I know I'm going to go back to doing the same thing, then it's a New Year's fad. I'm just going to be like,
that is actually paramount. I mean, and we never really thought of it, other than just a word, okay, my New Year's resolution, and we throw this out. It's like, what's your New Year's resolution?
Right, exactly.
And so we throw it out loosely,
Yeah.
But those that are serious about making those resolves in their lives, and really ultimately what it is, they really actually think about what it is that they want to resolve, and that becomes their resolution to move forward into the future. And then you find yourself, when you do resolve it, that resolution was sustained in your lifetime and in your life, your life force of what you were seeking to change.
What you're trying to change,
Yeah. So, one of the things that, I found that, over the course of time, it's like, self-improvement. People always, looked at how do they improve themselves, whether it's organizing, being more organized in their venture, maybe reading more to become more literate in the context of their daily lives, and actually whether it's self-help books or whether it's just a novel or something saying that I'm going to change a lot of watching television and that kind of thing to really become more cerebral in that. So, it has a different list of factors that you can resolve in the New Year's resolution. And I'm always looking at it and asking myself, what is it that I would like to resolve coming up, from what, and then I have to look back at me and think, okay, I've had New Year's resolutions that I've said, and then did I reach those? And if I did, ones that I did reach that I could think of, what about the ones that fell to the wayside? Did I really meet those?
And did you try?
Did I try?
Did you try? Yeah. Or did you try for it? Did you put everything that you had into it? I think that's the question.
And that's a good, I always ponder that coming up towards the new year. I always think, I have this positive thinking. It's like, the new year is coming and, it's going to be a fresh start to the new year.
Yeah.
And it's just a generality.
It is.
And we never think specifically about it. I know for me, I hear it and I have this, I'm going to say this glowing outlook for the new year, thinking, okay, last year was kind of tough. It had these things, right? But this new year is going to yield it. And so, you're sort of going into this new year with a positive sort of mindset. But then you get into it, maybe the second month of it, and your hopes in that you start seeing the same sort of things here, and you ask yourself the question, what changed, or is anything changing? Is it the same thing?
Yeah.
And so I think we find ourselves sort of in combatants to probably what we were combating with the year prior. Mm-hmm. And then that New Year's resolution sort of dissipates like steam.
Yeah.
And then you find yourself still doing the same.
You get back into the old habits.
Into the old habit. And so I guess it's always sort of, what do you do to sort of mitigate that? How do you do that?
That's hard.
Okay.
But I think for me, it would be a lot of self-reflection. I think you have to be honest with yourself.
Okay.
Which is hard.
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things, to look at yourself and say, look, I'm not doing what I can do. I'm not giving all I can give. I'm not trying to resolve it. I'm just trying to get by.
Oh.
Right. And my getting by is not enough.
Okay.
Unfortunately. Right. So it's hard to do that though. I can tell from experience, like I can't, there's been times where just like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Because I can't. And I don't feel like I have the willpower, or you get discouraged. And this discouragement, I think, is one of the biggest
things. That's the big hurdle. You get discouraged. I think even the people in the gym, they get discouraged with the fact that they think, well, I've been going here now for 3 weeks and I have not lost
anything
pound.
Yeah.
And then they think, well, why am I doing this? And then they go back to the same habits of what they were doing before.
Right. And if you were to just stick it out 2 more months and get to that third month, maybe you would see an improvement. Not everyone will see an improvement in 3 months, but maybe you would have seen, a couple pounds to 5 pounds, whatever it is, come off. Mm-hmm. And maybe maybe you don't see any weight come up, but maybe you see a change in the way your body looks, right?
Maybe the way your outlook.
Yeah.
Just like, I actually enjoy the physicality of this right here. That
it's
kind of
challenging. Thing. It's good, right? It's maybe your body changes. Maybe your clothes get smaller, but you don't see the weight come off. And that could be the case too, but something's changing. And you have to be realistic about, you have to be realistic about this stuff.
But one of the things you said earlier, you said being patient. And maybe that's part of the resolution. To being patient to the results that you are looking to achieve.
Right.
Wow. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's probably true. And then, again, all of these things, it depends on the mindset going into them, what you want out of it. I think everyone typically has a goal that they set, or, I want to lose weight, or I want to spend more time with my family, or, whatever it is. So I think at the beginning of the year, people are all about it, like you said.
So what if I said something like this that really, and this is going to sound really kind of funny, but what if I said this, in the new year, my resolution is to become a billionaire.
What did that
like with a B? Yeah,
be realistic.
Okay,
right? Because we just talked about that. You got to be realistic. Okay,
but that's a resolution to become a billionaire. Is that achievable? Is that something?
Can you do
this? And then, if you put your mind, do you really believe it? And if you believe it, can you achieve it? Yeah. In that regard.
So you can say the most outlandish things you want to say for a resolution, but realistic. What can realistically happen in a year? 2, are you talking about, I just want to be a billionaire just to be a billionaire, so I want to be a billionaire, and if I win the lotto, I'll be a whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's no purpose in just those things.
Okay,
right?
so in the point that you have the purpose, you
have to have a purpose.
Okay,
right.
Okay.
I know with these things, this list I have, there's a purpose to it. I can make small changes to get to that end goal. Right?
Okay.
If I'm saying I want to be a billionaire, you got to be extremely lucky, first of all, for that year. 2, you probably have to have money to begin with, right?
Okay.
You can't just be like, no money and then go to $1 billion.
I'm thinking going from zero to a billion.
That's like going from weight going to zero on our weight. Well, that's what I want, but it's not going to happen.
Not like that, right?
Not like that. So, but you know what I'm saying. You got to be realistic about it, and you have to be, maybe your goals should not be that outlandish. Okay. I'm not saying that people can't do that, because I'm sure there's going to be somebody that corrects me and says, well, I went from 0 to $1 billion in 6 months, right? I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about your circumstances and why you
how
did that,
you did
right?
that, and what propelled you to that.
Can that be replicated? Probably not, right? I mean, being honest, right? You probably can't do it in a year, not less than a year. So, just
I threw that out because I thought, okay, well, it's sort of like an unrealistic expectation.
Exactly.
And so sometimes we put those sort of unrealistic expectations as New Year
goal,
resolution.
Resolution.
Yes. And then when you don't see that happening, then you become disappointed in that, and then you sort of go back to the same program that you had before.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if you, in a more realistic, you say, I want to achieve a level of financial stability or even solvency,
right?
Then in that's a little bit more of a realistic expectation to approach, and that way it doesn't encapsulate you into that component where it says you've got to make $1 billion in order to achieve your resolution.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. You just, yes, correct. I mean, you have to have those goals. And don't get me wrong, I want people,
to aspire.
If you have that goal to be a billionaire, cool. Like, don't, it's probably not going to be overnight, and it's probably not going to be in a year. But man, if you can achieve that in your lifetime, more power to you.
Absolutely. Well, I think that when you, sort of the way that I was framing it just a moment ago, is that it doesn't eliminate the aspect of your desire to be a billionaire. But what it does do is that it gives you the steps to sort of reach that without feeling the aspect of discouragement along the way.
And I think you said it right where you said steps.
Yes.
Because you can't just go from 0 to 100, right? You got to go from 0 to 1 to 2, all the way to 99 to 100. Mm-hmm. So it's going to take those times and steps.
And so to keep from being discouraged along the way.
Yes. Instead of always staying at 0.
Right.
You want to go forward.
Yes. And so resolutions to me sort of comes to me in that form. And I think of, things that, sort of become, I would say objectives that I'd like to meet in the years ahead. They still stem from years prior. They've not.
You're still trying to resolve.
I am working on the resolution of that, but I've got other resolutions along the way that are sort of shorter fuse in a sense. And then I've got long range resolutions that continue moving forward into the next year. So that's something that we all sort of think, well, if I don't resolve that this year, then it's over. No, it doesn't.
Keeps going.
Continues. If you are still working towards that, you are working on the resolution of that. And then that moment that it becomes a fruitful endeavor, then you all of a sudden you have reached that resolution.
That's it,
And that resolution that you started in 1999 became resolved in 2025.
Right. It takes time.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
Depending
and
on
I think
what
that people
resolution is.
must understand that just because the new year means that you've made a new year resolution, you can still be working on resolutions that have been started back some time ago. If you're still working on those.
If you're still working on, right.
Yes.
Right.
If you're
if
not
you still
given
consider it one of those goals.
It's something that you want to resolve.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyways,
cool.
So, I was wondering some of the popular resolutions that people have sort of, endeavored in over the course of time. Well, you got any ideas on that?
Oh, man. Let's see. So I've got a whole list, and I'm sure you do too. Drink less.
Okay.
Make time for family. Budget, spend, save money.
Okay.
I got cook new foods on here.
Oh, okay.
That's actually a cool one. Think about that one.
I was going to say yes.
That one seems you can do that though, right?
Absolutely. You can go in the kitchen and just throw something in a skillet and say, I don't know what this is, but it's new.
It's new. Yeah. I don't know what this is, but heck.
I was going to see if I can eat it after I'm done with it.
Have your family try it because you're trying to spend more time.
That's the ultimate test.
So, but that's actually a good one.
Okay.
That one you could actually
That's on your list?
Yeah, that's on my list.
Okay.
Be mindful.
Yes.
read more books.
Okay.
Get organized. Sleep more.
Yes.
Drink less. I have stopped smoking on here also.
So now, well, okay. So when we say drink less, I mean, what is it?
Alcohol.
Drink alcohol. Okay. Because if you don't define that, it's like drink less water.
No, please. I would never encourage that.
Oh, I was going to say drink less orange juice or less soda.
Soda.
Okay.
Okay. Too. Soda.
Yeah. So,
soda.
But if we don't define
Sugary
that.
drinks.
Sugary drinks. That's
Sugary
even more
drinks.
definition of what you're going to eliminate in it. And so sometimes that right there is a good sort of endeavor too, because a lot of times we don't think about that in the weight loss category.
Oh, that's true.
But that sort of goes back to that. Yes, that goes back. And you say, well, so that's part of my resolution is to drink less soda. And if you say less soda, meaning that you're not stopping soda completely, that true. Puts less stress on your ability to achieve it.
Because it's negative diet.
Okay.
We talk about
absolutely diet. Oh my gosh.
It's like a bad word.
Oh, you mentioned diet, and right there, people start saying, my New Year's resolution is to diet and lose this weight. Well, you're on a course of not achieving that with diet. Diet, to me, is sort of one of those. It's like a fad. And you know that, how are you going to sustain that when the diet, let's say that, John, what if you're on a diet, you reach your goal? Yeah. Then what happens after that?
Off the diet?
Well, that's what you have to do, because if you don't,
the other way.
Then you start back.
Then I go back to sugary drinks.
You go back to that. So what you do is eliminate diets.
Yeah.
Eliminate diets from your thoughts.
That's true.
And what you do is a life change. What is it you said?
Yeah. See, when people ask me how do you lose so much weight? I say, I ate less and I moved more.
Okay.
That's it.
And that's it, right?
Yeah.
And so when you do that, you can sustain that throughout your life.
Right.
And you don't have to diet. You can eat anything that you want.
Right. And you can call it a diet too, even if
it makes you feel good.
But you don't have to.
You don't have to. See, I always look at diets, and most of you probably know this. When you look at diet, that means you can't have this, you can't have that, and so on.
Yeah.
And you want to go out with friends and you want to have a good dinner. Yeah. And you think, okay, well, I can't eat that because I can't do this.
Yeah, I gotta eat a salad.
Yeah, I have to do that.
No flavor.
And so that right there starts to throw your resolution out the window.
Yeah.
But when you say that, you know what? If I eat this portion amount, I can eat anything that I want.
Yeah, that's true.
And I can reach my goal in the new year because my resolution is to lose weight.
Right.
Right? Makes sense?
True.
Okay, yeah, because, most people think of that. And I think, you know what? I don't like to limit myself. If I want a piece of candy, you know what? I'll have one piece of chocolate, and and that will suffice me. Yeah. I don't need to eat the whole candy bar just because.
Or you can treat it like a reward.
Well, that's the other part of it.
Treat it like a reward.
Why would I have a reward though, John?
Because I achieved my goal of not eating as much during the week.
Okay.
And my goal was achieved, so I can reward myself by having a piece of candy.
All right. So see, when
like sugary drinks,
then you've eliminated that diet from your mindset,
right?
And so now you're on the road to achieving your objective,
and you turn it into a habit now.
Absolutely. And so that
you never
habit,
stop. You don't have to stop. You don't stop a diet, right? To go back to your old diet, you would just keep it as a habit,
right?
And now that's how you live.
Okay.
So
one of the things too that we talked about read more, but we didn't mention stop smoking. I know a lot of you, a lot of folks out there want to stop smoking, but they don't have the determination to really do so.
Harder. It seems like it's harder than weight loss to me because it's both. Well, maybe it's the same, but it's mental. Physical because your body craves nicotine,
and
right? emotionally you're connected and you need that
to sort of feel like,
or to whatever it is that you do that for.
So how would someone go about to have that as a resolution? I've heard people say this, and it really takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, it's hard
to really do that.
That's really hard.
Yeah,
I don't know how to do. I wouldn't know how to. So I'm not a person that could. Be addicted to that type of thing. So if I theoretically was a smoker, I could probably cut it off quickly just by cold turkey and not doing it.
Okay.
But again, the cravings and those other things for other people, it can be very hard.
Well, you notice they used to have this patch, the gum that sort of, and that would sort of give you a smaller intake of nicotine
and you
to
slowly
diminish that.
Yes.
And then, what's interesting, and I remember my dad, he smoked for years, and sometimes he would even smoke a pipe. And this was back some time ago. And he one day decided that he was going to stop smoking.
Oh, what made him?
He just didn't care for it anymore, and he stopped.
Oh.
And he really did. He just literally decided that he was not going to smoke anymore and did not do it. And that was it.
And he stopped.
And I had an older brother that did the same thing.
So cold turkey.
Just cold turkey.
They just
stopped.
Wow.
My mom, on the other hand, did not. And I would always ask her, I said, well, Mom, when are you going to stop smoking? And the benefits of smoking was the lung cancer that she got. Which was unfortunate because I kept thinking that, Mom, you need to stop. And she said, one day I'm going to stop smoking.
Yeah.
And so unlike my dad, where he just did it cold turkey, she never did. And she succumbed to that benefit from smoking.
Right.
So I always say to others, and I've never smoked, but I said, well, if you have that as a goal and it is a New Year's resolution, take the steps.
Take it.
To make that, to resolve it. And it may not happen next year, but it could happen.
Just take, you got to keep moving forward with it.
You have to keep moving forward with that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I just remember when I was younger and they had all those commercials, right, about the smoking and what the difference is between a smoker's lung and a non-smoker's lung.
Oh my gosh, I remember seeing that.
I mean, the lungs were just totally covered in like black, and it was just and then the other side, same age, perfectly healthy, looked like a regular lung.
Wow.
So,
and we don't see that. I mean, no one shows that anymore. But but now they kind of switched to vaping. And I kind of think,
I don't see a lot of smoking anymore. I mean, there's still people that do, but I don't.
Well, what's kind of interesting about that too is that in the smoking was kind of the generation that, my parents, did. And then even, my generation, they did a lot of smoking. But, the thing we start seeing a diminish of that, but we start seeing more vaping.
The vaping thing,
and what the fallout from the smokers that did this with the cool guys like Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., and Dean Martin, and those guys. Those guys were the cool guys.
Man.
And
you wanted to be like them.
You wanted to do that.
You wanted to be like them.
And so what we started to see is a fallout from like what my mom suffered from this right here.
Yeah.
So I wonder, what is the vaping doing for those guys? So when I started to look at this and think New Year's resolutions, that sort of comes up to one of the top spots up there with weight loss and so on, is to stop smoking and whatever that is.
Right. And that's a benefit for you, for your family, for your kids,
everyone around you, all your friends, etc.
Exactly.
So
similar to weight loss, it's the same thing, right? You could have, that benefit for you, and not just you, but everyone that surrounds you.
So now, in closing this, I know there was one thing that you were going to mention. I thought you were going to talk.
So the last one I had for the resolution was random acts of kindness.
Yes, I thought you were going to.
I know we talk about that at every episode at the very end. So random acts of kindness, again, something that you can do right away.
Okay.
Think about that.
It's just a typical movement, something that doesn't take a lot of energy, but yet at the same time, to have that insight to do that.
Yeah.
And we sort of ask everyone to sort of, we
challenge everyone.
Yeah, to do the
random act of kindness. Start the new year with that.
That's it. And that becomes sort of a resolve that you do throughout the year. It doesn't stop just one time. It becomes a natural thing.
Every time.
We need that. So
with that,
we challenge you for the new year.
Yeah.
With
a
random
say
act
Happy
of
New Year to everyone as well.
Absolutely. Happy New Year.
Follow us on all of our social. Let's see. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify.
YouTube.
Thank you. I always get one, right? One. It's always one.
Right there.
It's always one, man.
Okay. Happy New Year. And Happy New Year to everyone.
Okay. Bye.